The fast-tracking of the proposed $700 billion financial bailout may need a little bailing out of its own. Top administration officials went to Congress today and continued to warn of dire consequences if Congress doesn't act right now. But skeptical senators from both parties say the current plan is unacceptable and they want more details. So who did the White House tap to run over to Capitol Hill and charm and strong-arm and sell to Congress a plan that would cost about $2,300 for every man, woman, and child in this country? Who do you think they picked? Got to be a real sales guy. Got to be somebody who's got a lot of pull. How about Dick Cheney? Because that's who they sent. Emerging from his undisclosed location, Vice headed up to the Hill to corral support for the bailout. The last time Cheney made such a trip, according to the LA Times, that would be the time he went there to scare up some votes for the Iraq War resolution. Not clear exactly what his results were on the Hill today, but the Politico.com write-up of his visit was headlined, quote, "House GOP rises up against Cheney." Doesn't sound good. Also today, we learned a surprising bit of new information about the administration's rescue plan, courtesy of the Deputy Press Secretary, Tony Fratto. Mr. Fratto reportedly said the White House has had a version of its bailout plan for months, and they just decided to roll this one out now, thereby giving members of Congress just a couple of days to study and sign it. Quoting the newspaper Roll Call, Fratto acknowledged lawmakers were getting only days to peruse it, but he said this should be enough. If the plan's so good, why not so much time to consider it? This bailout business is confusing and scary and almost too big for most of us to understand. And so its main effect on voters, on the current politics, may be simply to refocus us, to refocus the electorate, not on foreign policy or on distractions like lipstick on pigs, but on meat and potatoes domestic politics. The mess on Wall Street makes us worry about our own street. The common political wisdom, which the polls indicate is warranted, is that John McCain has been losing out to Obama in terms of who voters trust to handle an economic crisis like the one we're in. But if the long-lasting effect of this crisis is to keep basic pocketbook politics front and center, will John McCain have better luck running on his record in the Senate on those issues? You be the judge. John McCain was rated the worst U.S. senator for the year 2007 by the Children's Defense Fund. Their rating was based on 10 key votes. One was education, specifically the Head Start program, the early childhood education program. Despite telling a Cincinnati group during this campaign season that he would, quote, be glad to fully fund Head Start, his voting record shows his consistent opposition to it. He's voted against increased funding for Head Start 4 times over the past 11 years. Well, how about health insurance for kids? Surely that is a Main Street issue at a time of economic worry. Senator McCain has consistently voted to limit the number of children eligible to be covered under the state children's health insurance program, SCHIP. He most recently voted against reauthorizing the program for 5 years, and he supported President Bush's veto of that expansion. How about minimum wage? Well, McCain has voted 19 times against Democratic attempts to raise the minimum wage. After 19 no votes, he did most recently vote for the bill that raised the minimum wage. But that wage hike was packaged in a larger spending bill for the Iraq War. Joining us now, Democratic Representative Jan Schakowsky of Illinois, who supports her fellow Illinois congressional representative Barack Obama. Congresswoman Schakowsky, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Well, it's just a pleasure, and congratulations on your show, Rachel. It's great.
Thank you very much. Do you think that the long-term political effect of this economic crisis that we're in right now will be to get voters focused on basic bread and butter economic issues like the ones I just described?
I do think that it's crowded out more of the ridiculous issues that they've been focusing on, the kind of gotcha campaigns. And now I think the American people understand this is really serious and that we're focusing on the really important issues and that we need somebody like Barack Obama who will get serious, who understands the nuances, who is thoughtful. So I'm hoping now that we're kind of done with the trivia.
I kind of feel like the 19 votes against the minimum wage, the votes against kids' health insurance, the votes against fully funding Head Start, I don't feel like that stuff is widely known about John McCain. And when we talk about the effect of the economy on the electorate, we're so often talking about women voters. I feel like those issues in particular, those votes I just described, would be of a lot of interest to women voters. Do you think that the Obama campaign needs to do a better job getting that record out there?
Well, actually, we are on a main offensive to make sure that we go out and talk to women. Women like myself have been going around the country and meeting with women's groups. We even have soap opera stars that are going out with us as well and talking to women who may be watching the soaps. But we're also focusing, for example, on older women. There were two rallies that Barack had in Florida this week talking about what the danger of privatizing Social Security would be. John McCain has voted for privatizing Social Security. That means investing some of it in the stock market, for heaven's sakes. You can imagine what kind of insecurity we'd have. We'd turn a guarantee of Social Security into a gamble if it were invested in the stock market. And so we think that older women ought to know about that. Women should know about the votes against child care, against after-school programs, against special education programs, the child's health insurance program. You know, for less than we spend for a month in Iraq, we could have insured 10 million more American children with health insurance, and he voted against that. And so, yes, we're definitely going to get this message out.
It feels like these are the specific details. What you just described, those are the specific details of political analysis that we need to understand in order to make concrete the one thing that everybody understands about the campaign right now, which is that when you talk about the economy, Barack Obama benefits. And frankly, to be honest, any generic Democrat would benefit because Americans tend to trust Democrats on the economy more than Republicans. It seems like the way it may translate in very brass tacks terms is to votes of seniors who are worried about economic insecurity and to votes of women who are worried about pocketbook at-home issues.
Well, let me say one very important one. John McCain in this 21st century is against equal pay for equal work and even said that the explanation for the wage gap, 77 cents for women to $1 for men, is that women need more education and training. I mean, how patronizing can one get? We know that women are qualified to get exactly what men get for the same job.
Maybe with more education we could understand why it is that women make 77 cents for every dollar that men make. Last question to you on this same issue, and that is the choice of Sarah Palin as vice president. Certainly, as a woman, it is exciting to me to see a woman who could be that close to the presidency. I'd like to see a woman in the West Wing. Seeing a woman in the East Wing is the next best thing. How do you think that the choice of Sarah Palin ultimately is going to boil down in terms of women voters, given the policy challenges that their ticket has on issues that women care about?
Exactly. When we look at Sarah Palin's positions on women's issues, the thing that women care about, she is not with us on any one of those. She exactly mirrors John McCain, except in those instances where she's even more extreme. On women's reproductive rights, she's not for allowing women to make a choice for themselves, even in a case of rape or incest. Sarah Palin supports John McCain and his opposition to the equal pay for equal work, and so women cannot be looking to Sarah Palin for a rescue, that's for sure.
Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, Democrat of Illinois, thank you for taking the time to talk with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.